All right, gonna jump right into it. Pay later versus layaway plans. What is my take on the matter? First of all, what am I talking about? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money and More with Jan channel. Hope everyone is doing well. I hope I don't hear a bell ring. I hope I don't hear a phone ring. Every time I want to record things, things decide to ring. I don't like that. Because then that means I have to start usually all over again. Usually, hopefully not. Let's jump right into it. I just heard on the news something a little interesting. Number one, let me preface this before I begin. I have nothing against any company that does what they believe is best for their business model. They believe it's best for their business model. Okay, so I understand that one of those types of organizations, companies, I should say, not organization, company that offers where people go dashing, if you will, like, not dashing through the snow, no, dashing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, without getting into it in particular. I just heard on the news. I've never used that. I've never used that service. Never. So I am really not qualified to like really talk about that, but I want to talk about a payment option versus another payment option. When I was a kid, there was a thing called layaway plan. I was like, what on earth is that? I used to see that sign all over the place in the department stores. Who remembers seeing signs all over the place in department stores back in the day? Layaway plan. Well, I thought that was a thing in the 60s. No, it actually went back to the 1930s. I was like, what? And basically, a layaway plan is this. Let's say I wanted to buy a bicycle. Let's say I was a grown up and I wanted to buy a bicycle back then, but I didn't have all the funds. What I would do is leave a deposit with the store. The store would hold on to the bicycle. I would make payments until the whole thing was paid off, and that was it. They would charge probably, I would guess, a little nominal, little bit of a fee to hold on to it. After all, they are holding on to the thing, but everything would be paid up, okay, if a person went that route. And you just pick up what you paid for already. Nobody loses here. The retailer does not lose. The consumer does not lose because the item is already paid up. Then, of course, now that went on. I checked this out. I was really surprised to learn the layaway plan started in the 30s. I guess as a result of the Depression era, I'm guessing. But it went on all the way through to the 1980s. I thought there was just something in the 60s and maybe early to middle 70s, and that was the end of it. No, it went on even through the 80s. But of course, with the rampant use in the 80s, who might remember the explosion of using, they were handing out credit cards all over the place in the 1980s. Who remembers that? Anyway, so when credit cards took over, layaway plans sort of went away. But I understand they still did not go completely away. There's a thing now called an online layaway plan. I was shocked. I was shocked and amazed. It's interesting how one subject brings you to another point, and if you research it long enough, you find out other things that never in your life would you think are. But what sparked my interest was this thing that a dashing kind of a company, if you know what I'm saying, is now offering a pay later plan. Now let me know what you think about this. This is for those that frequently, use this thing and they set up, I guess, an account. I don't know how it works. And basically they match the pay later option for, like, let's say a person gets paid on the 15th of the month. Every single month their paycheck occurs on the 15th of the month. So what they figure on doing is like matching it up with the dashing company to work out an arrangement that they wouldn't be charged with anything until the 15th of the month is when it comes due. You don't have to front the money up. So let's say a person, goes through that dashing kind of a company and orders a bunch of stuff. And then the 15th of the month comes, and that's their best time to make a payment because they get paid on the 15th. And that's it. No problem, right? No fuss, no muss. Well, here's my take. Let's go to my take part. Let's go back to the layaway plan. Layaway plan, nobody loses. Nobody. Okay. And you pay it off and you're done. Retailer doesn't lose. You don't lose. You're not stuck with a high bill or anything. You're finished. Purchase is made outright. Might have taken a little longer, but you made the effort and paid the bill. And by the way, you're probably wondering what happens to those that don't follow up. What happens is they get credited for whatever they paid into it. Okay, that's what I understood from what I looked at. But they maybe subtracted a fee for holding on to that merchandise because after all, that could have been sold 1, 2, 3, right? You see where I'm going with that. And that's fair. That's very, very fair. And in my opinion, my take on that is that was a great option because you can't have that thing until it is outrightly paid for, which is really a better option. And they opened up that years and years ago for those that having trouble making ends meet, and all that stuff. And it was just a responsible way to do things. This I am not sure now for the person that once again is a responsible person and really and truly will be paying for this on that date of the month. Let's say pretentiously they set up a date for the 15th with that dashing kind of a company. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But when I heard about this option this morning, I said, My question is, what happens to the person that, well, they're just not consistent? They say that they get paid on the 15th. Maybe they lose their job. What happens then? You see where I'm going with this? It goes back to, in my honest thoughts. Oops, there I go moving this by accident. Sorry if you heard any moving sounds here. Yes. So it goes back to being responsible, to answering to keeping a promise, to keeping a commitment. Here's how I feel. If I can't pay for something, whether it's now or even let's say we'll use the infamous 15th of the month. I'm not going to get it. I'm just talking about how I would handle it. This is my take. If I can't order that thing from a dashing company, if you will, if I can't afford it now, why would I want to afford it in 2 weeks? Because wouldn't they be possibly cutting into other things that are going to come due? I don't know. I tend to think that if in the wrong hands, okay, this could wreak havoc for the consumer. Maybe the person meant well. Like I said, circumstances change. Who knows what could happen? I would like to know from you in the comment section below. What is your take on this matter? To me, I don't know. I think it has potential risk. But like anything else that has potential risk, a credit card has potential risk. If left in the right hands, no problem. We all know by now that a credit card is a short term loan, and that's all it's intended to be, a short term loan, not a lifelong commitment. A lot of people mix that up because they're not understanding it is a short term loan. It is not a gift, it is a loan. It is not your money, it is the bank's money. If only people could understand this concept. Credit card money is not your money, it is the bank's money. Oh, my credit card, my credit limit, blah, blah, blah. Credit card money is not our money. It is their money. Okay. It is a short term loan. I don't care if I sound repetitive. I don't care. I'm just saying. Now, this pay later thing may be great. I would say for the vast majority of anyone responsible, the ones with great, intentions, the ones that, everything works out, it could be a landslide option. It could be. I don't know. I don't know I never used this company. I don't know. But I'm talking about payment method. I'm not talking about the dashing kind of companies. I am sure they serve purposes and they have helped a lot of people. Let me tell you where I will give 100,000% credit. A lot of people are making side hustle money, doing those dashing type of jobs, and doing their own. I mean, it's really not a job. It's kind of like your own thing. So I wouldn't call it a job. I would call it like a side hustle and all that. But and I've heard some people doing very well with that. All right. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about payment methods and payment styles. What would you do? What is your take on this matter? Do you think this pay later option is a good thing, or do you think it has the potential to wreak havoc if in the wrong hands of anyone that I don't like anybody getting into credit card debt, sort of like taking on another debt if you're not careful. But I would imagine, pure imagination. I don't have statistics. I don't have hard copy facts, but I'm leaning to think that most people would handle it responsibly. But there are always a few that just can't.